Welcome back. Well, the White House has unveiled a $5.5 trillion package of higher taxes in President Biden's massive $7.3 trillion 2025 budget. Biden is proposing $900 billion in defense spending, $1 trillion for non-defense, and $4.3 billion for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and other programs. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget writing that the budget falls short of proposing the necessary deficit reduction needed to put the nation on a sustainable fiscal path, and it fails to recognize the immense cost of extending expiring tax provisions. The Wall Street Journal editorial board also slamming the president's budget, calling it a fantasy. Joining me right now is Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett, a member of the House Oversight, Foreign Affairs, and Transportation Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Do you envision the president's budget passing Congress?
Well, the problem with these budgets, Maria, as you know, is the uniparty will read down into these budgets until they find what pork and what K Street lobbyists they need degrees are in there, and then they just vote for the bill. So I would hope we pick it apart and show that, in fact, you know, he keeps running this Marxist diatribe about how capitalism is bad and all these folks are evil. You know, corporations don't pay taxes, Maria. You and I pay taxes. All they do is pass the tax on to us. They'll pay, you know, I remember when I was in the state legislature, somebody was talking about, well, let's just put another nickel on a six-pack of beer. And, of course, all that does is affect working people, and that's exactly what this will do. His Build Back Better program, as you know, was not going to raise taxes, and it raised taxes. And he's claiming this will not raise taxes on folks that make $400,000 or less. And we all know that's a lie, because we will pay more at the pump, we'll pay more at the store, and it will just pass it on to working-class Americans, which is what they always do.
He's got plenty of handouts in this budget, but what I'm concerned about is all these tax increases. And partly this is going to pay for him forgiving student loan debt. So you've got an economy that some people are still saying is on the doorstep of recession. Jamie Dimon reiterated that we could certainly see a recession later this year as growth slows considerably, given the Federal Reserve's higher interest rates. Wouldn't higher taxes on anybody, small business, big business, rich people, wouldn't that put a pressure on economic growth?
Yes, ma'am. Sure it will. $400 billion increase, $5 trillion in new taxes. That's going to hit all of us, and I think that will stifle growth. And you know, like I said, the economists that are advising them have a Marxist bent on everything. It's just capitalism is evil. Let's get the capitalists. You know, his State of the Union address was just that. It was demonize the rich, or demonize folks that have gone out and made a living or invested in this economy, and yet still that they come back with more and more taxes is always their solution. And well, you know, that's gutless. How about cutting government growth? You know, we did that in Tennessee, and we had record surpluses. We cut taxes, and we had record surpluses.
Yeah, I mean, the president during the State of the Union said that he's already cut the deficit, but the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says that that was false, that, in fact, what he's talking about is the end of the COVID money. Now, in this new budget, he claims he's going to cut the deficit by $3 trillion. So we're going to work through it and take a look at where he gets that number. I don't see it. But obviously, if you're raising taxes by $5.5 trillion, maybe that revenue helps you cut the deficit. Let me get your take on what else is happening this morning. Special counsel Robert Hur will testify before the House Judiciary Committee this morning after his report on President Biden's handling of classified documents. Hur, as you know, released the report to the public in February. He did not charge the president because he said he thought a jury would not convict, quote, an elderly man with a poor memory. Congressman, what are you expecting out of this testimony this morning?
Well, I expect he'll get drilled pretty bad for that. I think that was a pretty lame comment, to think that absolves him of any crime. It to me is beyond belief, because as you well know, that's no defense in any other crime. But of course, when you're a Biden, they seem to make excuses. And of course, if he cannot stand trial, if he's not fit to stand trial, if he doesn't have the mental capacity or the cognitive level, then why in the world are the Democrats running him for president for a second term? this thing is out of control. No, he just said the quiet parts out loud, Maria. And the Democrats are in agreement. If you get them individually, as I have many of them, they just shake their head and laugh about it, because they realize that obviously this man is not running this country. The puppet masters are at work, and if it's just a continuation, it's Obama's third administration.
So you think Obama's running things?
I think his people are, yes, ma'am. And he's got a couple of 25-year-old kids whisper in his ear every now and then, and he says stupid things. But I believe, yes, ma'am, they are, 100%.
Where are you on TikTok? The national security officials holding a classified briefing on TikTok, the bill today. The House is expected to vote on that bill tomorrow, and it would require the Chinese company ByteDance to sell TikTok or face a ban in the United States. Former President Trump is coming out against the bill, saying that it's going to double Facebook's business. He says, why would you ban TikTok and give all that power to Facebook? But there are reports now that TikTok CEO is going to come to Washington this week. Is that what you're expecting?
He might, but the trouble is, Maria, is it's really not banning TikTok. It's just banning the communist Chinese influence in TikTok, which we know they're just using this to harvest information from young Americans, and that's why when you talk about an issue and then all of a sudden you get a TikTok video on it, that's not by coincidence. That is a mining technique they use. It's probably illegal, but the communist Chinese do that. And what the bill does in reality is force them to sell it. And hopefully some Americans that are capitalists, that understand the system and are not communist leanings. We've had almost a 900% increase in anti-Semitism on TikTok since its formation. So there's a lot of bad things that are going on in TikTok. But of course, you weigh that against the First Amendment, and that's where I am. I'm kind of right in the middle right now. I'm trying to read the bill, reading everything I can on it, and just find out exactly, because it's not banning TikTok. It's just banning the communist Chinese influence within that. And in fact, is that legal? Is that constitutional? I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to ask a few questions about that.
We know all about that Chinese influence, but what you just said, you say you talk about something, and then all of a sudden you get stuff on TikTok in your email. Is that what you said? That just by talking about something, they're mining what you're doing, what you're saying, not just writing, yes, but mining what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am, sure they are. They mine what you're saying, and they use that effectively in marketing. But of course, they're influencing the way children think. We've seen that with the transgender movement and others, that where they get this information. Well, it popped up on a video, and so I started looking at it. They do the same thing with marketing. My wife and I were talking about a random product the other day, and then miraculously there was the video. So they're doing that. Yes,
it's amazing, because I was talking just the other day on this program, and I've been researching Temu, the Chinese retailer. And I was talking about it because I know that the stock of the parent company of Temu is up big. They spent all this money on the Super Bowl. And we've been looking at Temu versus Five Below versus Walmart, American retailers. Suddenly I'm getting all this propaganda from Temu in my inbox.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, wow. Well, high tech says,
okay. I'm going to zip it. I think I'm going to start zipping it, Congressman. Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Tim Burchett, thank you. Good to see you, sir. We'll be right back.